Tonight, one-third of Gen Z takes healthcare advice from social media. It's a mixed bag with the NSU students. ChatGPT has taken the world by storm, raising concerns in higher education. This and more in Mako TV News. I'm Paulina Riojas.
And I'm Alvarado. Welcome back.
We're taking a closer look at social media and its healthcare content after a new survey has been released.
Yes, that's right. This survey tells us that Gen Z, at least one-third of them, use social media for health-related advice. Here's Madison Kasper with the story.
According to a recent survey by Charity RX, one-third of the younger population turns to social media for healthcare advice before going to a professional. Dr. Montoya's expertise is in social behavioral health.
I think young people are turning to social media, seeking not only to connect with others, but asking questions on search engines and also looking for information on their own.
Freshman Brianna Tambolini explains the sense of community that social media provides.
I think social media will give you a community. You're definitely going to find your people on there, whether you're contacting them and talking to them through DMs or text messages or phone calls, or you're just seeing in general people posting and you're seeing that you're not alone. You're not the only one that feels that way. You're not the only one that has been through that or experienced something.
Some people find a sense of community when turning to social media, while others are concerned about the misinformation being spread.
Social media, there's a lot of lies and there's a lot of sidetracks that can go along with that.
You don't know what advice is real or not, and I'm kind of passionate about this because I'm going to school to be a PA, so I definitely am an advocate for seeing a professional if you have a problem, because you don't want to get false advice, be doing something that's dangerous for your body, physically, mentally.
Dr. Montoya supports the use of health experts providing advice on social media, but encourages reliable sources.
The things that we find is that with social media tools, they are potentially spreading false information once it becomes very popular. So one of the ways that we try to combat that is by teaching people what are the reliable sources. So if you are looking or you are seeking health information, relying on things that come directly from health agencies, so such as the CDC, the National Institutes of Health, or any health department, reliable sources of information that can also be verified.
Social media influencers face challenges when creating entertaining content that doesn't compromise important information.
What happens over time is they have to become creative in order to continue developing an audience. And the challenge there is sometimes the information becomes a little bit less credible.
Despite there being a spread of misinformation, Dr. Ricci reaffirms that there can be reliable sources on social media.
There are good resources too. There are many doctors on these social platforms that provide really good information. So I think people are gravitating toward it because they also want short, small clips of the information that they're hoping to acquire from these sites.
The younger generation continues to turn to social media for healthcare advice due to its affordability and accessibility. I'm Madison Kasper with Mako TV.
Thank you, Madison. Our new series, The Health Update, looks at a condition many are getting after COVID called POTS. Is there a cure, and how can it be prevented?
This comes after Washington Post reporter Amanda Moore published a story about POTS. My co-anchor Paulina sits down with Dr. Arti Raja, an expert in this field and Mako's health advisor.
Hello, I'm Paulina Riojas with the Mako Media Network Health Update. I'm here with Dr. Arti Raja, a professor at NSU's Homos College of Arts and Sciences. She earned her doctorate in microbiology at the University of Maryland and completed her postdoctorate work at Harvard Medical School. Her areas of research include microbiology and innovations in science education. Dr. Raja has several years of research in the field of virology, specifically HIV and its protein. In addition to research and teaching, she gained vast experience in the field of infectious disease, consulting for the pharmaceutical and financial industries. Welcome, Dr. Raja.
Thank you, Paulina, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
What is POTS?
Sure. So POTS actually stands for postural tachycardia syndrome. So this is a syndrome or a disease condition that some patients have following either having been infected with the virus or in some cases just as a condition by itself, following other complications that they may have had.
What are some common symptoms of POTS?
Sure. So POTS, the most common symptoms are things to do with the heart. So you would see an increased heart rate. So normally heart rate is around 72 beats per minute, but in someone who suffers from POTS, it can go up to 160 beats per minute. Another very common symptom, excuse me, is fatigue, dizziness, headache, and again, the idea that it's called POTS, so it's postural tachycardia, so postural, something to do with your posture. So basically these patients, the symptoms they'll have is when they suddenly get up from a sitting position, they'll get really lightheaded and dizzy, and they may faint even, or they'd have difficulty lying down. Research has shown that a lot of people, because of these symptoms that they suffer, they are unable to continue with their work, and they've had to stop working, which becomes a big issue for them.
What was POTS like before COVID-19 compared to now?
So the name POTS itself was assigned only relatively recently in the last few years. And following COVID-19, what they have noticed is there has been an increase in the number of patients who kind of talked about certain symptoms that they're experiencing following having had COVID-19. And finally, people have started learning to diagnose it, and they're beginning to characterize it as being POTS.
There's been a surge of young women diagnosed with POTS. What are some treatments?
Sure. So the current treatment that most people rely on is primarily physical therapy. So they would get some exercise for their legs, for their limbs, basically, their legs and their arms, so that they're able to sit or stand in a particular position for extended periods of time. They're also going to suggest that they have more of a salt intake into their system so that there's better fluid balance and they don't feel that lightheadedness or giddiness. So those are some of the very basic quick treatment options. There are some other treatments that are available if it gets even more serious, and those medications will be similar to those medications that people would take if they have some kind of heart complications. There isn't one medication right now that you can just take and completely get rid of all your symptoms. That is the unfortunate part of the syndrome.
Thank you. Do you have any last thoughts about POTS?
My only thoughts are it is an unfortunate condition that has popped up following COVID-19, but if there's any silver lining, so to speak, if at all that can be said in that manner, it is, at least it's brought the condition out to light, and hopefully more people will be thinking about it, and there will be more physicians who are trained to diagnose this condition and help the people who are affected by it.
Thank you, Dr. Raja, for being here with us.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
This has been the Mako Media Network Health Update. See you next time.
Thank you, Paulina. ChatGPT, heard of it? Well, it is taking a world by storm, with more than 100 million users within its first 2 months.
This is raising ethical concerns in higher education. I sit down with NSU computer science professor and talk to students on where all this should stand. ChatGPT has grown in popularity as of November of last year. In higher education, professors, faculty members, and students are still grappling over its ethical use in education.
It's a chatbot that can pretty much answer any question that you pose to it. So you can think of it as a search engine, except for the fact you can communicate in natural language. You can just state a question and it'll come up with an answer in a and it'll present it in a way, it's pretty good at natural language processing. It would present it in a way as a human expert would, or a normal human being would.
Cheating is one of the biggest concerns.
Just because of the ways that it can just give you answers for pretty much anything, and I mean, from what I've seen, but I do think it's really cool and it could be used to make education better if it's used in the right way.
Not all information on ChatGPT is correct.
Thing is, you shouldn't trust anything you get from ChatGPT implicitly, because for anything that's non-routine, non-standard, there's a very high probability that the answer is going to be incorrect or misleading.
Most universities have not banned ChatGPT in the United States. NSU is one of them. One student notes it should not be banned.
I don't think anybody should ban it because it's the student's choice to use. If they want to use it to cheat and not learn, then they'll get bad grades and that's their choice. But if they want to use it to enhance their learning, then that's their choice too.
While another believes schools should not ignore it.
If schools completely try to pretend it doesn't exist, it can just lead to kids using it for homework and not really ever learning anything. If it's used properly, it can be used as a learning method to study.
Some believe it is still a valuable tool.
I probably won't use it because, I don't know, it probably wouldn't help me with my major or anything like that, but I think it's a good site regardless, so.
It could block a lot of creative ideas, so I'm not sure if schools would use it because it could low-key give kids answers right away, but I still think it's a good database to use if you're really stuck on something. It helps a lot, give you at least a pathway to start some sort of essay or writing.
ChatGPT continues to test policies and ethics of education, while others believe it is more of a tool similar to spell check. Regardless, ChatGPT is capable of changing the traditional landscape of education. I'm Paulina Riojas with Mako TV.
The Diversity Summit is the first of its kind for the NSU community, going over topics virtually and in person.
This was a 2-day event. Pablo Carillo has a story.
NSU makes itself known as a pillar for diversity with the creation of the first Diversity Summit.
I'm hoping that these 2 days will demonstrate to people just how important it is to include others, to respect others, to treat others the way you would like to be treated yourself. And if they do that over 2 days, they'll be making history.
George Hanbury II, president of Nova Southeastern University, shares NSU's longtime philosophy.
Diversity has been one of NSU's core values. It's what has made NSU what it is today.
NSU has launched the first annual Diversity Summit, dedicated to educating and celebrating diversity and inclusion.
Despite the majority of the audience being adults, John Byrne mentions the importance for the young generation to educate themselves on diversity.
To have our youth, and that's why we're here at NSU, be educated on these issues so they can take them up for the next generation.
Within both days, many speakers made their mark, and Brian Champion believes this is only the beginning.
Definitely, I think that this should not be an isolated event. It's going to springboard into something great.
Nova Southeastern University is a majority-minority institution with graduates from over 117 countries. My name is Pablo Carillo with Mako TV.
Thank you, Pablo. Let's take a break from all the things virtual and visit NSU's Greenspaces.
Justin Abonce talks to NSU Nature Club president about gardens and wildlife on our campus.
The Greenspaces here at NSU are overgrown gardens meant to be unkept. But with the addition of the native narrow wildflower garden, the Nature Club introduced more native flowers to the mix.
The Nature Club, we're the ones who founded the wildflower garden over there, and we take care of it. We very often come into here as well to do things like remove invasive plants.
With all the buildings here that students attend to, Nova Southeastern University has pockets of greenery called green spaces. Those places, the Mesozoic Garden, Meditation Garden, and the native narrow wildflower garden.
And we're constantly looking at ways to increase the diversity of the garden. Some new wildflowers have actually recently appeared. There's one called river sage. It's this really pretty blue flower, and it's been popping up all over the garden. So we're very happy to see that as well. But yeah, we're always looking for ways to increase the diversity of the garden.
Stephanie Osorio shares her thoughts on the green spaces.
The green spaces are really nice. They are very quiet and peaceful to be at, especially for someone who likes to be surrounded by nature. Especially when it gets cold, it's a great place to come out and do your homework and study.
Though the garden is filled with beautiful and beneficial greenery, it has its fair share of harmful, invasive species as well.
There's a lot of invasives that you could find throughout here. One of them is air potato. Air potato is really awful. It's a vine that climbs up trees. They make these really big seeds. And if you pull the vine down and the seeds fall, you have to collect them all or else they'll sprout into 5 new plants. So they're very invasive. There's another one called balsam apple, and that tends to grow more over in that area by the prehistoric, the Mesozoic garden. And that's a real pain because their seeds, their fruits will literally blow up and spread seeds everywhere. NSU, Nature Club, everyone in Florida has a sort of like kill on site policy. There's really no benefit to these plants. They just choke out everything around them. They're very dangerous for the native wildlife. So if you can learn to identify these plants and make sure that you know the differences between them and the native plants that might look similar to them, so you're not accidentally ripping out a native plant, it goes a long way. If you're just like walking to class, you see some balsam apple and you rip it up at the roots, doing that can stop the spread immensely.
Joseph goes in detail about what a green space really is.
So green spaces are a general concept. They apply to anything from a small garden to a park, but really it's a place where plants are allowed to grow, so it's a place where development is pushed off so that wildlife can live there. Migrating birds especially, they need places to find refuge on their path, and buildings and parking garages just aren't suitable for them. So places like these where there are fruits growing, where they could find food, where they could find water, where they could seek shelter are incredibly important for all sorts of wildlife. And it allows students a way to sit down, enjoy the peace of nature, right? Because there are all these nice trees around us. You see them blowing in the wind. It's very nice and cool compared to the rest of campus, which can get quite hot. So it also adds that benefit as well for people.
The main reason these green spaces are here is for the students' well-being, being a source to distress and decompress.
It's very peaceful, it's calming, and I like the rocks a lot. I like stepping on them.
Aside from that, I just really encourage everybody to go and spend time outside. It's just so much better for your mental health to go out, sit outside of like flight deck or come over here or the SAB patio and study outside and just get some fresh air. You know, I always encourage people to go out and touch some grass.
This is Justin Abonce with Mako TV.
Thank you, Justin. Now we have Mako TV sports reporter Santiago Diaz Finochietto. Santi, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just great, but you know who's doing way much better? Men's basketball and men's baseball. The NSU men's basketball team has advanced to the NCAA national title match after winning 94-87 over California State San Bernardino.
What's going on with our baseball team?
Baseball, they're doing so much better than the beginning of the season. After winning the series with Davenport, the NSU baseball team will go into conference matchup.
Wow, that is great to hear. Here's the baseball team. Let's see what they hold on for conference series.
Concluding their 2022 season, the NSU baseball team goes into 2023 following the most successful season under head coach Las Gutierrez.
After the first 2 seasons, it was a bit of a culture change. He kept preaching the same things over and over. The players started to buy in, me as well, and we got to a point where there was really good chemistry with everyone on the team last year, and I think that's the main reason for the season we had last year.
Despite the best start in program history last year, the team holds a 12-10 record in this 2023 season.
This season, obviously, we got off to a slow start. As of late, we've been turning it around, winning a lot more games. I think a lot of people expected us to come out the same way we did last year, but there was a reason that was the best start in program history, in a program where there's been a lot of winning history. Now that we're rolling a little bit again and finding our way with this new team, it's just important to continue to be who we are as a team and as a unit, playing for each other and finding ways to win every single day.
Carlos Ray, the left-handed pitcher, gives us a glimpse of what we will see from this team next game and the rest of the season.
We stand out from other people. The way we play aggressive, like we'll steal every base, we'll make every pitch, we'll hit a lot of home runs, score a lot of runs. It's very aggressive and very upbeat baseball. We know what we're getting ourselves into, so I feel like that series out of all of them just might mean a little more to all of us. So we're going in there, we're going to give it everything we have.
This is Santiago Finochietto reporting for Mako TV.
Thank you, Santiago. Now, Paulina, were you able to catch any of the games this season?
Yeah, I did, and it's so good to see all the students come out and even faculty cheer on the Sharks.
Great. Now, universities are starting to ban TikTok in the United States.
Ronald Martinez, a reporter for The Current, has covered this topic. Welcome, Ronald.
Thank you for having me.
What can you tell us about the TikTok ban?
Sure. So as it currently stands, the United States has more or less been in a hot debate with China as to whether or not to ban the app. Most notably, certain universities in the United States have already produced a ban on their networks. For example, in Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University has already banned the TikTok from the networks, and universities such as UF or USF have strongly discouraged the use of it.
Where does NSU stand?
NSU has not identified a position on this issue at the moment, but they are monitoring the situation as best they can and are going to be as transparent about their decision with the NSU community as they can.
Okay. And what's going on nationally with TikTok?
So nationally, the CEO of TikTok, Saccucci, has testified in front of Congress in order to try and sell his $1.5 billion plan, Project Texas, that would realistically make United States citizens' data be saved in a United States server owned by a United States company. However, TikTok would still be owned by the Chinese government.
Tierra Garnett has spoke to students about how they would feel about a TikTok ban.
As more universities begin their ban on TikTok, we decided to ask the NSU students how they feel and what are their thoughts and opinions. Have you heard about the TikTok ban?
Yes, I did hear about the TikTok ban.
How do you feel about it?
Honestly, I think it's unfortunate for the rest of us because China does a lot of things. They manufacture our phones, our products, our toys, you name it, China has their name on it. So you're going to take away the one thing that brings all of us joy. It's also very informational for a lot of people, so it's not just about fun trends and just having a good time. It's also about learning things and, finding new opportunities and stuff.
I think it might impact us as students because I feel like a lot nowadays students might use it as either an outlet or as a way to represent themselves on social media by making videos or content that has to do with either educational or recreational.
A lot of students at NSU use TikTok in many different ways. One student even mentions how they use it for educational purposes.
I think a lot of people learn a lot of different things through TikTok, and there's a lot of professionals on there spreading information as well. So and then it's an easy way to get quick information too if you wanted. So I think it could impact people educationally as well.
The European Union has so far banned their staff members from being able to use TikTok while on the clock. We'll soon see how this will affect higher education. This is Sharks on the Street. I'm Tierra Garnett reporting for Mako TV.
Thank you, Tierra. This has been Mako TV News. I'm Paulina Riojas.
And I'm Mia Alvarado. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you next time.
Go Sharks!